All right, we are live and we're talking about Cuties. Susanna,
Uh-huh.
you want to?
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Today we have our lovely CEO, me, and we have our co-founder, Armin, and we have our lovely previous guest and member, Deborah. So today, this is Deborah's idea. There she is. And Deborah was like, we should talk about this movie, Cuties, that came out. So for those who don't know, Cuties is a French film that premiered at Sundance. Or it was involved in Sundance this year. And it is extremely controversial and became a subject of controversy after Netflix released a very specific marketing photo of the poster that really triggered a huge amount of backlash. And people, because of this photo, I think, were fresh off the bat just going to condemn this movie. And then it took some time for the movie to come out, and then it came out, and people still had a lot of criticism of it and mixed reactions and mixed reviews of this movie, what it achieves, the problem that it's trying to highlight, and the ethics involved in creating a movie like this. So I thought all of us would have very interesting perspectives. I came from a very conservative Catholic family, and I related to a lot of what is talked about in this film. Armin comes from a more liberal Muslim family, but a very conservative country. And then Deborah comes from a fundamentalist Christian background and then converted to a fundamentalist Islamist faith and practice, and was also involved in a polygamous marriage, which is a theme in this movie as well. So I think we would all have very interesting perspectives and past experiences that we could bring into to kind of dissect and reflect on how those backgrounds made us respond to this movie. So should we set up more of the plot?
Yeah, you go. You did that.
Okay, so it centers around this 11-year-old girl who her family are Senegalese immigrants to France, and her name is Aminata, or just Ami. And it follows her journey of dealing with a very conservative Muslim background, coming into a new culture that she's unfamiliar with, trying to navigate both what are the demands of social desirability within this new environment that I'm a part of, both in terms of just broad on a cultural sense, but then also how does my budding puberty and the expectations of what it means to be a woman in this new culture mean to me? And how do I fulfill that? How do I become desirable in that lens? Well, at the same time, there's this great conflict going on about the messages that she's been raised with throughout her life in a conservative Muslim family, compounded by the fact that they're immigrants in a new society, and compounded by the fact that her father is now entering a second marriage. And that brings up a lot of feelings for this young girl. And along the way, she makes friends with a girl who's also living in her housing projects. And this girl is very different from her, very expressive. Presumably, the impression I got was a lot less parental supervision, and is very impassioned about dancing. And this girl that she becomes friends with is involved in a group of, well, they kick out random people throughout the film, but about 4 other girls who are all very passionate about dancing. They happen to really like dancing in ways that most people, maybe I shouldn't say that, but to me seems highly inappropriate for children. And that's part of where this controversy comes in, because that was the impression that a lot of the wider audience, or at least American audience, got from this movie, that it was quite inappropriate.
Are you saying this is that people outside of the United States will find this acceptable behavior? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know.
Oh. Okay.
That
okay.
I was trying to correct for not necessarily making that assumption, because I only know my country's reaction to it, right? I was under the impression that when this premiered in France, it did not get as much as this startled reaction as here in America. That's my impression. Let me be clear. So there's a lot more that goes on in this movie, but I think that's a good place to set up the premise of it. So she tries to become part of the in-group of this kind of clique of what I would call like mean girls, kind of. They kind of have a lot of that behavior. And how, in an attempt to fulfill the expectations of this group, she takes on a lot of behavior that is like not good. But she's doing what a lot of preteen girls do and just trying to find acceptance, right? And she doesn't have anyone to guide her because she's the oldest daughter of an immigrant family. Deborah, do you think there's anything else I should add?
That sounds good to me.
All right, let's get your takes on it. You two. Who wants to go first, Deborah or Susanna? Who wants to go first?
I want to hear what Deborah has to say first, because I think I had a very specific reaction that I was not expecting.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good.
Yeah.
Reduce my volume. But Susanna, reduce my volume. Okay, go ahead.
The backlash was annoying to me just because of the whole QAnon Trump election, climate that it's coming out in. I totally recognize with those girls. I was like that. I grew up as like a first generation from an immigrant family. I basically had to raise myself as well. My friends and I would go dancing around just like that, not on stage, but we actually did do it on stage once at school. There was a music competition. We were the same age, and we dressed way too provocatively. To ourselves, it seemed fun, but then while we were on stage, we started seeing the people's reactions, and it was almost like in the movie where we're like, oh, this is not appropriate. So as a girl, I totally relate, because you're at that, precipice of like becoming a woman, and you don't know what that is. And my influences as a kid was like Madonna and all them, right? So we're dancing along to her songs and the way she danced too. So we would be like shaking our hips and stuff, but not understanding the implications of it at all. Like not like what people think. So I completely see the innocence in that part, and you see even the main character's reaction at the end was like that too. Like she was like, wait, like this is actually, this is not me. Like this is like, what am I doing? So it's like, if somebody would like actually watch it before calling it some like pedophilia film, they would understand.
Oh, hey guys, cut it with the words that YouTube doesn't like.
Sorry,
oh, no.
I wrecked it already. Well, I mean,
there
goes
the monetization.
You should have said ahead of time. Anyways, we're talking about cuties, so clearly it's going to be the word of the day. But anyway, I apologize. But that's my take of that part. And of course, I'll relate with the polygamy part. Like, it was just watching that aspect of things and seeing she's growing up now she's an adult. She's hit puberty, and she's being told that you're the woman of the family. And she's now being treated just like it. She's going to halakas with the women.
Okay, but even within the context of the movie and the message and all of that, you're saying like, oh, people should watch it before they judge it.
That, yeah.
But if you watch it, you notice that it seems like it's definitely taking, like, there are scenes in there that is like, okay, I understand what the cameraman is trying to do, or camera woman, I don't know. Like, I'm like, come on. Like, it's obvious that you're trying to use the sex appeal to make there's some framing of the videos, and they're zooming in and they're lowering the camera and then focusing on the butt. Like, what the hell is going? Like, it doesn't seem like, I mean, at first I was like, actually, when I watched those scenes, that I was like, okay, yeah, there's something bad. Like, when the first reaction that came out, I was like, maybe we should wait until the movie comes out and then we judge it. But then when the movie came out, I was like, okay, yeah, they were right. Like, so I'm actually the opposite. Like, I'm saying the trailer and the ad at the beginning, to me, that didn't justify the backlash that it got. It was the movie itself that I think justified the backlash. I mean, it was clearly trying to. I think there were some scenes in there that was clearly trying to be like, what the hell, cameraman? What the hell are you doing? Like, I was like, this is like, it's marketing this. I don't know. I think that was obvious what they were trying to do. It was very clear to me what they were trying to do. What do you think?
Well, I think it's actually important to note that the person who directed this is a Senegalese French woman. And
identity politics, does it really matter?
Well,
I'm bringing it up because she's trying to tell her own story.
Yeah, it's not like a man made this and is making a sicky movie.
Okay, but I don't know, but it seemed like did you have to, like, okay, here's the thing. Okay, let's say I have a scene, okay, and they're dancing, okay, and you're showing them dancing, and then the camera lowers.
Just thinking about it, I'm getting so viscerally uncomfortable right now.
But the camera lowers and then just focuses.
You're supposed to be uncomfortable. Now, I agree. I think they could have cut a lot of this out for the release. I agree. I don't think it was necessary, but I think she put it in there. And again, it came out in France. It's European. Everything's way more provocative there. They don't have
pedos there?
Well, obviously,
they definitely do.
I'm just saying, but everything in general is a higher threshold. Like, they have billboards with nudity on it, like, just in public. It's normal there.
Okay.
I'm just saying that for shock value in Europe, that would be normal,
but
wouldn't
it's not the same. It's not the same thing. I'm pro nudity. I'm pro sex positivity. But it needs to be consenting adults. Like, I mean, just because the standards, I mean, those things are good. I think those things, the fact that people do not have high standards for for what is accepted sexually and stuff, that should be promoted, right? That just because that is acceptable behavior there, that doesn't mean that this is, now all of a sudden this is acceptable. I think this is like, especially given that these kids probably have no idea what they're getting themselves into when it comes to this movie. Right, like,
possibly
they could regret, like who made these decisions for them? Like, them agreeing to be involved in this movie is something that, the consequences of it, and having that out there in the world and having the world react to it. I mean, that's something that they can never take back. And is an 11-year-old right now and mature enough to decide whether this is something that they want out there for the rest of their lives or not, right? So that is, I mean, that's child exploitation, isn't it? But sorry, go on.
Well, I was doing a little research on the background of this. So let me find it. So the director wrote an opinion piece in the Washington Post, and she talks about, like, what you need to know about the movie, right? Why she did it. And on the Wikipedia page, it talks more about the environment that the film was made in. So she says that she created a climate of trust between the children and herself during filming. That she spent hundreds of hours doing research on the sexualized imagery that young girls at this age in particular are exposed to through social media like TikTok, YouTube. And she said, while working on the film, quote, I explained to them everything I was doing and the research I had done before I wrote this story. I was so lucky that these girls' parents were also activists, so we were all on the same side. At their age, they've seen this kind of dance. Any child with a telephone can find these images on social media these days. She also stated that she worked with a child psychologist during filming. It was revealed that she spent nearly 18 months researching studies on how they were exposed to adult content and sexualized imagery on social media to showcase the accurate reality in the film. She revealed that 700 girls were auditioned to choose the girl suitable to play the lead role. So,
okay, I have a question. did the child psychologist tell the children that once this movie comes out, there's probably going to be hundreds, if not thousands, of people masturbating over your videos being out in the public? Do the children understand that that's going to be something that will be happening?
That's not clear.
Was that explained to them?
I don't
And
know.
if they know that now, or if they find that in the future, are they going to be like, yeah, I didn't know that this is a thing. I didn't know there's like a lot of people like that out there, and I wish that I knew that before these videos made it out there, right? Was that not so? Was that explained to the children?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's not clear based on the research I've done how much that was brought into this environment of research in the construction of this film.
Deborah, what do you think?
I mean, you could say that about so much that's out there of young girls doing stuff, like all those like talent competitions with young girls dancing in like short things. What about like even just watching gymnastics or anything? If people want to watch young children for some sicky pleasure, there's more than enough stuff that is out there. I'm just saying. But
they're not being explicitly sexual.
You don't think those little talent shows with little 5-year-olds are twerking around? Yes.
I think those should be removed
those
as well.
There's like reality shows about dance competitions with little girls doing the same thing.
Yeah, they should be removed.
Exactly. But why are they only outraged about this one thing? They got to be like fair then, because there's more than enough of that stuff out there. That's why it's like stupid and hypocritical to go after this one thing that actually has an important message in it. Well, but they could have cut out a lot of the scenes. Again, a lot of like, or cut them short, or like they could have implied a lot more, in my opinion, especially for North American release. But I mean, I think but that's my opinion. Sorry.
I don't like that this is getting mixed with sex positivity stuff, because I think people don't like. I think that this is gonna,
you're right. I guess. I'm just thinking just more things slide in that part of the world.
I think this is going to hurt
for art purposes.
I just think like because people like us that we want to break taboos, and all of a sudden things that should be taboos are being mixed with the things that we want to break as taboos. And then people are like, oh my God, look at these liberals. Like, this is what happens when you have no restrictions, when you have no religion, this is what happens when God is not in your life, right?
Oh, okay, so look at her religion, what she was heading towards. She was watching her mom go through the worst thing a woman goes through. She watched her mom have to sit there and take and call people up and tell people in a nice way and how happy she is that her husband's getting a second wife, and have to hold it in. And she watches her mother break down. So she's watching. That's what a woman is like in her nice religious home. So she's looking like, holy shit, what else is there? And that's what she was looking at. It's that exploration of what the hell is a woman. It's a really important thing that girls go through. Especially, I cannot imagine having the access that kids have to these days when I was that age. Like, I was doing that same stuff just with Madonna music videos, however often I was able to access that stuff. So, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I think it's an important message.
Yeah, and I'm a lot closer to the generation where this was more of a reality in terms of social media. Like, so the reaction I had to this film brought up so many feelings for me that I was not expecting. Oh, wait. Okay, real quick. Bridges.tv became a YouTube member. Welcome to Satan's Minions. Thank you. So thank you, Bridges TV. Let me continue. This movie brought the Catholicism out of me full force. I'm not even lying. I had such a severe reaction to this movie. When I was growing up, I grew up in an environment that was extremely, extremely sex negative. And now as an adult, I know that there were other things going on that explain some of that stuff, but I can't talk about that. So, an extremely sex negative environment to the point that like any kissing, any intimacy in a movie was fast forwarded through. Like we weren't allowed to see how adults even be physically affectionate on a base level with each other. Like it was to have that behavior modeled for you from such an early age of seeing your parents get tense when they see that on a film and you all sit there waiting for it to be over as your parents fast. So that's what that means to me, right? I associate seeing sexual things on a movie with cringe, tension, look away. Don't even look at it. And I've gone over a lot of that as I became an adult. Not all of it. And for the first time in such a long time, I literally could not look at the screen. Like I had such a visceral reaction to it. Like it brought me back. Like I couldn't even look. I had such a severe reaction to it that I was experiencing all of those feelings of sexual shame secondhand.
Yeah.
On behalf of these characters. Like I'm almost 25 and I still can barely bring myself to wear shorts because of how severely I was conditioned. Like I can wear shorts now. That's new this year.
Wow.
That's new within the past 9 months. Okay. So seeing girls age 11 dressed like that and dancing like that, like I couldn't comprehend. I couldn't comprehend on so many different levels. I couldn't comprehend being able to do that even now.
See, this is the problem with not having red lines, some red lines, because justified red lines, because then people might think like, you know what, maybe the religious upbringing had a point. You know what I mean? Did you
That was my reaction.
Yeah.
I was watching this movie and I was like, I am so glad my parents kept me overly sheltered. I am so glad my parents made me afraid of sex. I am so glad my parents punished me for this shit. Like, that was my reaction. I'm serious.
No. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's bad.
It is bad.
Oh, yeah. See,
like it was so visceral.
This undoes our work into making people more like liberate sexuality and all that. This kind of like overcorrection undoes our, that. A lot of people like, okay, you know how, yeah. So
well,
again,
the Mennonites say nothing about sex. So I taught myself through that way.
Same.
But I was way more open though. I was like those girls, not like those girls. I wasn't like a bad girl, but I was not ashamed of like wearing short stuff.
But I'm saying is that this is why when we have to tell people where the actual red lines need to be. Like as people who want to promote sex positivity, we cannot be like, hey, remove all the rules, right? We have to tell people that, okay, here are the rules, and it's not based on disgust. It's not based on taboo. It's not based on what is normal and not what normal. It's not based on what's society acceptable and what's not what society is not acceptable, socially is not acceptable. It's based on harm reduction and harm reduction only, right? And but we have to tell people there are red lines. Just because we are liberals, that doesn't mean there are no red line. There shouldn't be any rules. But the rules that we come up with, the standards that we come up with, is about preventing people from being harmed. And again, I think this movie crossed those lines, but I think that Deborah disagrees.
Well, I come from a messed up background too. I mean, I come a very believe me, I was abused as a child. I mean, like I'm not from a good solid, at all. Like I had to teach myself everything. Everything was like thrown, like there was no help. I had to just help myself kind of. So I mean, but I just really identified with them. And so when I watched, like I didn't turn away because I was like, I felt like, okay, I remembered being 11 and I remembered doing that. And I remembered even just, when girls dance in their bedroom, like it's fun, but like you dance provocatively but you just do not understand the implications of it. It's just, as you're becoming a woman, like you're just becoming a woman. It's part of that. I mean, to have it displayed on a movie, I don't know if that's proper. I just know for myself, I thought that's what it was saying.
One thing they could have done is made an animation maybe for this movie so that there's actually no children being exploited.
Well, they could have done those kind of scenes just like where they more implied what was going on instead of zooming in.
Without actually showing the butt, like you could show them like maybe tearing the clothes off, but not showing the goddamn butt. Like what the hell are you doing? Just don't show the butt. Just know how hard is it? Like we could see that's what's happening, and without you showing the butt, like what we don't need to see an 11-year-old's butt naked. Okay, we don't need to see that. Nobody needs to see that, right? You could show that they did that, and why are you showing that? And also, what was the point of that scene? Like the whole movie is supposed to be like, oh, this is how society is sexualizing children, and we need to fight back against that. But that was like, it's other children. It's not like society. These are other children ripping the clothes of another child. Like what are we even fighting back against here? Like there's no point to that scene other than showing
no, that shit 11-year-old in schools
butt naked.
They do that shit. But we didn't need it like displayed on a movie.
That was an unnecessary scene. There's literally no point to that scene. No point to that.
No, that was important. You had to see the granny panties underneath. That's what it was. She was wearing all new clothes, like that. She was like, look at me. And they were like, oh, look at her. And then they threw her down, pulled them down. And she had old, like ratty, ripped up, poor girl's underwear. That was the point. She was humiliated. And they all stood and laughed at her. Look at her old, gross stuff underneath. That's what that scene was. It wasn't just like we're pulling down pants.
There are better ways to set.
There could have been better ways, but that's what that scene was.
I don't think. Okay, I think that part of the calculation, to me, based on the videography, part of the calculation must have been, oh, some people are gonna like this. Let's include this here for the sex appeal.
I can't see people putting that in, and I think
based on the zooming and based on the framing, I think these people were like, at least some people, maybe not the lady that made this whole movie, but some people behind the scene, like, come on, the zooming and the framing, some people were like, this,
I don't know.
This needs to be like, we need to use the marketing appeal of sexualizing these children.
I think the intention was, well, that's what made me so uncomfortable, because they're with the camera, they are making you look that way, right? Yeah. You have no choice but to look up and down the body that way. But the thing is, what I noticed, because I actually thought the movie was very well directed, like cinematography, and there was very interesting symbolism that I liked throughout the movie. And it was shot. Well, actually, no, I don't like how it was shot, but what I mean to say,
you understand why.
Be careful, Susanna. FBI is coming for you.
I know, right? Shit. They're using the same techniques or same ways of framing things that you see in these. So they were primarily listening to reggaeton and dance hall. So these are the same techniques that you use in those music videos, right? So I think they were trying to harken back to like, this is how this type of genre is presented, right? And here they are trying to emulate that genre. And so this is what they are trying to become, right? That's kind of what I took from it. I didn't think that they were doing it because they thought people would enjoy it. I would be revolted if that was intentional.
I think it was meant for discomfort.
I mean, it was meant for discomfort. Yeah. But it was they were also making a parallel to these genres that these girls are involved in. And I would know, like, I'm obsessed with reggaeton and dance hall. Like, that's one thing I liked about the movie. I was like, oh, these girls, like, this is my jam.
They could have made it more, you know, because the scenes that they're supposed to discuss everybody, to me, it was shot in a way that if these were adults and you were trying to actually make a sexually appealing video,
that's how you
do it. That's exactly how you would do it.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Like if these were adults and you were trying to make something that was disgusting, you could have showed us something else. That would be like, oh my God, there's something bad happening here that I'm uncomfortable with, right?
Even just like a wide shot. Even a wide shot of the same thing would have been totally different.
Like, for example, like if you want us to be uncomfortable at this, you could have just like, why the camera is lowering and all of a sudden is showing her crotch and showing the 11-year-old booty shaking, right? Like, I'm like, this is not just about making people thinking that this is this is about some people actually liking this and the movie taking advantage of that. That's what I came across.
I think that's speculation, but I see where you're coming from.
I mean, even if it's not the case, then it's indistinguishable from that, right? Because again, if these were adults and you were trying to make create a sexy scene that people would be like, oh yeah, that's hot, that's sexy, this is exactly what you would do. So why? I mean, but again, I've seen movies with adults where they are in situations where it's not good for the victim, and you look at it and you're like, it's not sexy. It's like, oh my God, this is a horrible situation. Get her out of there, right?
Yeah,
like with adults, right? I've seen what scenes like that look like, and I've also seen scenes with adults that look like, oh no, this is something sexy, and like, oh my God, it's hot. Let's enjoy this moment together. Like I've seen those scenes as well. And these scenes that are supposed to make us uncomfortable looks more like the latter rather than the ones that is supposed to make the audience uncomfortable. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I get what you're trying to say. Yeah. Oh my gosh, there were just so many.
I mean, I'm not a director, and I could come up with ways that more people would feel uncomfortable with those scenes rather than some people being uncomfortable and some people like, let me rewind this a couple of times. And, I don't know. I just think like it's more, it seems to be feeding both of those audiences. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the movie is complicated because on one hand, there's like the ethics of making a movie like this. And then there's like the message behind the movie about, so in terms of just to focus on the message for a second, I really understood the message. And Murtad Skeptic is saying maybe they should have played horror music.
Yeah, actually, he's right. Like, for example, if for example, there's ways that it could, I mean, other than not zooming in and not showing certain things, there are clever ways. Like, imagine if as soon as they did that, it just went like mute. Like, there's no audio.
Well,
and the music stops and we're just watching. There's so many ways that it would be so clear, like this is a bad moment. And all the signals that movie creators like usually make to show you that this is a bad moment, those weren't there when these things were happening. But go on, sorry, Deborah.
No, I think the scenes where they just had like they had their cell phone audio and it wasn't even loud, right? Do you remember? But I watched it before you guys, so it was like longer ago. But I thought they had kind of crappy audio when they were all trying to dance and trying to learn. They had like the cell phone on the ground with really shitty speaker and stuff. But I don't know. Maybe.
I think Armin meant like more of
just like have it silent.
An audio cue.
For it to create the mood. Yeah.
I mean, there was a moment in the final dance scene where Aminata has her moment of personal disgust when all of a sudden it switches to the singing in Wolof.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of those moments. But throughout the film, there aren't so many of those moments.
No.
And also, they're saying that the movie is supposed to be a pushback against society sexualizing children, but throughout the movie, there were examples of society like saying what the fuck is happening here, and the kids being into it, and society being against it. So I don't know how this is a pushback against society sexualizing. Like, I mean, like for example, many of the times the adults were like, "Ooh, boo, what is happening?" And then like the guy that they were doing like a video camera with, as soon as the guy saw that these are kids, the guy was like, "What the hell? These are children." And I was like, "I don't want anything to do with this." So it's like, no, you're sure. It seems like it's a rebellion against society. Society doesn't want to sexualize them, and these kids are like throughout the movie. It seems like they're rebelling against that. Like this, like most of the time, the society was like not okay with this. So it doesn't seem like the message that people are saying that this is like society is sexualizing children, and this is a pushback against that. I mean, there were some examples of that, but most of the time, it seemed like society was rightfully condemning the sexualization of children. So I don't know.
I think you're right in the sense that there are scenes of the society condemning that behavior. Oh, 100%. There are. I can think of 3 off the top of my head. Right. But they're showing the girls rebelling against that because not because that's what they're actually encouraging, but because that's what the girls believe is expected of them. That's what they should attain.
That's what's available to them.
To be a woman. And
because they consumed content that was meant for adults, that was not meant for them. So this should be a message about parental control over what your kids are exposed to.
100%.
But that's not what they're saying. They're saying that there's a pressure on kids to be sexual, and like this movie is actually showing you that's not actually there. So if it's a message like, hey, make sure your phone, like, I don't know, like that's not the message that I got from the movie. So I don't think that a lot of people are like, oh, watch the movie, this is actually against exactly what you guys are saying. No, that's not what I got. That's not what I got from the movie. So, but I do agree that if the message was like, hey, parents, maybe control the content that your kids are consuming, if that was the message, that would be like more consistent with the consequences of what these kids did. But again, that was not the message either.
I think there was that message in a roundabout way. Like, it was very clear that Ami's friend who lived in her building, and I can't remember her name, but it was the girl with the really long dark hair. Like, that girl talks about how her parents are never around because they're working all the time. And so there are themes of these girls talking about lack of parental supervision. And Ami, her father isn't there. Her father is still in Senegal, like getting his second wife. And so a lot of this is her acting out because she does not have a father in her life.
The message could have been, the message, it was not about society sexualizing children. The message should not be, I think what this movie would have been a good message if it cut out all those crappy scenes, right? Was that do not overcorrect for that overly. So for a childhood that is too conservative, too restrictive is not good, and kids will rebel against that and might go too far and have no standards on the other side, and that's not good either. And there's a happy middle that would be more ideal, right? That could have, I mean, if you removed all the scenes that should have never been there, this would be the message of the movie, and I think that would have been a good message, right? That's what I think it would have been.
I think the movie kind of reached that at the end scene. Yeah. When she
went to being a normal child.
I actually thought the ending shot was really beautiful of her going back to playing double dutch, and she's jumping and higher and higher, like
not in hijab. Not in hijab and not in like
She's
slutty
just
clothes either.
normal. Yeah.
Not slutty clothes, not hijab. Just being a kid, being like doing kid stuff, right?
And she's jumping higher and higher, and she's free, and she's smiling as if she's on this trampoline, jumping impossibly high. That final shot was beautiful. But there are so many other aspects of it, and I think the movie does bring up a good point of, as a girl raised in an extremely not extremely conservative, but a conservative religious family, extremely sex negative, where I had zero information about this kind of stuff that wasn't religious. And my only education was through these forms of hypersexualized media. Mm-hmm. And so what do? I go do that, and then I get punished for it. And so I didn't come from a Muslim background, but there were so many different aspects of what she was going through that I completely related to. Like, there is nothing that I was punished for more within my family unit than curiosity about sex. Right? So that, I can't even get into that, but it sent a very particular message to me.
What can't you get into?
I'm not going to talk about this on air. But it's really difficult as a young girl nowadays to understand what that healthy medium is, and what that healthy medium is once you actually become an adult, right? Like, I see my younger cousin going through this, and she was raised in LA, Los Angeles, and so there was even more of that hypersexualized, very image-focused culture, whereas like I grew up in the Pacific Northwest, where it's like granola and like culture is hiking in the woods. It's very different from what's like valued of people. And so I saw her even more dealing with that than me. She was talking about trying to shave her legs to be visually acceptable at the age of 6.
Oh.
At the age of 6. Right? Like, worrying about how her legs looked. And so this is something that young girls go through, and this is a natural reaction to the media around us. Now, I'm curious about what you guys think about kind of this slippery slope argument. So, for example, just off the top of my head, like a couple days ago, Apostate Prophet tweeted a photo of Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion in the wet ass P word video. And then put a exactly, no, that is too young. Oh no, Antonio. And this is a girl even in a conservative Catholic family still with this pressure. So he put up a picture of Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion in wet ass P word, and then he put up a picture of the marketing photo of Cuties that got the giant reaction, the giant backlash in America. And I can't remember the tweet exactly, so don't crucify me if I get it wrong, but he basically said, like, if this is what we celebrate, like, this is what we can expect. And
Who posted that?
AP.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not the same.
So I'm curious about what you guys think about that.
That is not the same.
Okay.
To be fair, I'll go look for the tweet and we can show it on the...
Okay. I disagree with AP on this one. No, come on. That's again. This is what happens when you don't have any standards, and people come up for the stuff that should be allowed, the stuff that should be celebrated. Women should be able to. Adult women should not be told how to celebrate their own sexuality. If you want to be modest, be modest. If you don't want to be modest, don't be modest. Again, when it comes to sexuality, our red lines are consent and informed consent. Okay, that is the main issue. Okay, so again, WAP is what? Wait, I mean, yeah, I really want to see that tweet. Yeah, you can't compare that. Like, people should not be told how to celebrate their own sexuality, right? So again, what is that? Did he said if we allow this? What was the wording on that tweet?
Wait,
no,
I'm gonna
celebrate this.
Armin, should I send this to you on Facebook or the private chat of StreamYard?
Facebook.
Okay,
Please,
give me
yeah.
a second.
I mean, by the way, just because I know a lot of people are really motivated to make me and AP like go against each other. Okay,
Why?
Oh yeah.
do not. That's not gonna
Stupid.
work. I don't
Why?
care. I
Yeah.
don't care if we have disagreements or not. You know,
Yeah,
so
people are why?
I just
yeah,
sent it to you on Messenger.
we could have disagreements, and we will remain friends no matter how many disagreements we
You
have.
can't
with each other.
separate us from our prophet.
You cannot separate us from our prophet, unlike your prophet, is fallible. Okay, we acknowledge the fallibility of our prophet. Okay?
And we love him for it.
We
Yeah.
love him even if he's wrong.
We know that
coming out
nobody's perfect.
of Catholicism, I don't like the idea of an infallible person.
Oh
so-
yeah, no, I don't like this tweet though. If you celebrate Cardi B, you get cuties. What? No, which is basically I can't say that. Which is basically CP. We call it CP. Don't complain about the obvious consequences of your own actions, society. Society. What the hell? Okay, here. I will show you what this is. What do you guys think about this while I look this up?
I don't
I don't
really
think it's a fair
get.
comparison.
I don't think that makes any. It does. He'd have to explain that. I think.
I do
Because-
think
But
that
what if you celebrate Cardi B, which is a grown woman making?
I
Oh, maybe he's saying because girls want to act like that. I didn't even think of that. Girls are gonna start wanting to act like her.
yeah, and I mean I kind of get that.
I danced like Madonna when I was young.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's go over this logical fallacy with each other, right? Learn a new logical fallacy, slippery slope. You said that if we allow A to happen, then Z will eventually happen too. Therefore, A should not happen. So this is exactly the format. You said that, look, A, if we allow A to happen, this is A, WAP, then Z will happen. Cuties is Z. Wow, this is exactly the format of the fallacy, hey? Therefore, Therefore, A should not happen. So, WAP should not happen because. Okay. So, and let's see what's the problem with this fallacy. The problem with this reasoning is that it avoids engaging with the issue at hand and instead shifts the attention to extreme hypotheticals because no proof is presented to show that such extreme hypotheticals will in fact occur. This fallacy has the form of an appeal to emotion fallacy by leveraging fear. In effect, the argument at hand is unfairly tainted by unsubstantiated conjecture.
You did it.
Yes, I did it. Jesus. Example: Colin Clausen asserts that if we allow same-sex couples to marry, then the next thing we know will be allowing people to marry their parents, their cats, their cars, and even monkeys. Okay, so there's a slippery slope, right? So there's no reason for us to believe, there's no evidence prevented that if we allow this, this is the consequences of this necessarily. There are ways that we could have this and we avoid this. Like, I mean, we have, for example, right? Like
what
we are
about Britney Spears is even a worse example because she was so young when she was like.
No, but look what we are like. Again, we are. That's why we say like, hey, this should be allowed and this shouldn't. That's what we're doing.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. That's what you're saying.
That's exactly what we're doing. This doesn't have to lead to this. We could be like, we could draw the red line right here and be like, this is allowed, this is not. That's how you do it. I mean, I don't understand what again, what are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to tell women that, like, I mean, put Sharia law, like, hey, yes, it's your body, you want to express it, but I mean, technically, he didn't say it shouldn't be allowed. He's saying you should, if you want to celebrate it, right?
He's saying that this is what you should expect.
No, I do not accept that. I can celebrate one of them and condemn the other one. It's pretty easy, actually.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy.
I mean, we can do both, but it's also not crazy to see how girls would emulate what they see celebrated.
Right. But again, that's why you need to have. That's why you can't just stop artists from doing their art. You have to provide more control over what parents get to. Parents should be given the tools to be able to control what their children are exposed to. That's where you add the filter. You don't add the filter at the artist level or the content creator level. You add the filter at the parent level. I mean, how far up do you want to go into introducing the filter?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, Cali would be banned if we went that far. Sexy Cali would be banned.
We can't have that.
You know, we can't ban. You cannot, like, we celebrate Sexy
There's
Cali,
no turning
right?
back now.
I mean, if your kids are exposed to my Sexy Cali, that's your fault. You cannot make me not create Sexy Cali just because you don't know how to, you know, control your children. Like, that's you're responsible for that. You're responsible for your kids saying Sexy Cali.
I mean, if kids are like finding Cardi B and WAP and stuff, they're probably finding way worse stuff than that as well.
Right.
I know, but it's tough because in terms of parental control, like, there needs to be a balance, right?
Right.
Like, when I was so tightly controlled that because this is also just the nature of who I am as a person. I wanted to understand what was taboo. So I went out of my way to go seek out that information because I didn't understand why that was being kept from me, right? And well, actually, I'm not going to get into that. But it's difficult because I think there needs to be that parental control, but at the same time, a sex positivity present.
Right.
Like, if it's tightly controlled because, to quote, your mind is going to go down the gutter and you are going to corrupt and hurt yourself permanently, that's not a good thing to hear when you're trying to understand just having desire itself.
Yeah.
Right. By the way, Soha is mentioning Muhammad married.
Suha is saying Muhammad married Aisha at the age of 6. He was, oh God, I don't even want to talk about this. He was thightening her until he consummated the marriage at the age of 9. That's true. I mean, according to Islam, girls at the age of 11 are not too young. Yeah, and that's an interesting juxtaposition in the film. She gets her period. There's a very clear message sent to her by the women in her community that you're a woman now.
But this brings two things into attention. All the Muslims who are calling out this movie as vile.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they have nothing to say. Zero. They have zero to say.
Wait, Deborah, I want to hear that one more time.
They have zero to say about that.
I mean, the hypocrisy of them calling out cuties while their own scripture allows.
Yeah.
I can't say. Like, this movie sexualizes children. You know what else sexualizes children? Your prophet fucking one of them. Jesus Christ, man. Like,
or putting a hijab on them at 9.
Right. Yeah.
Or younger.
Or just whenever their period comes.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, I mean, that's in the Quran. No, actually, the Quran says some of your wives who have not even had their periods. So the Quran apparently allows you to have wives.
Well, anything that causes men to, can't control themselves. So if a young girl is probably too attractive, they start covering her up.
I've seen people putting hijab on toddlers.
Oh, yeah. They think it's so cute. I did that. I wrapped around. I'm like, look, hijabi.
I mean, the chubby cheeks coming out the sides are cute, but the whole concept of it is disturbing.
It is very disturbing. But at the time, you're thinking, we're all one. Like the board.
I had a quick question, Deborah, and let me know if you don't want to talk about it too much. So when you were in your fundamentalist Islamist environment, and I believe it was 7 years into your marriage, you were propositioned, well, I don't know about proposition, but basically informed that there was going to be a co-wife coming into the marriage. There was going to be a second wife. one thing I thought was interesting about the film was watching the perspective of the children seeing their mother go through this.
Yeah.
And I was curious about how old your children were at the time when you had to go through that.
Yeah, they were younger than that. But
Okay.
I did the same thing she did, was try to keep my composure around the kids to make it look like a normal, seamless thing. So I was like crying in the shadows, basically, when nobody was seeing. So it's just that kind of thing. Even my child was telling me the other day that they didn't even notice when that happened. Like, it wasn't even a thing. So
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was a very interesting juxtaposition of the film, and the very clear messages that Aminata is getting from the women in her family about what it means to be a woman. And a lot of the message that she's getting is it's a burden.
Yeah. Well, you see, she's looking at, and her mother even sees the defiance in Amy and actually, lets her. Like, I love the dad's on the phone and he wants to talk to Amy and he hands it to her and she takes the phone and throws it off the balcony. And the mother looked like kind of, almost like, thanks for like having my back, kind of like that. Like, it was, I just felt so much in that movie. Like, I felt
so this would have just been a good movie, like a really good movie, if it didn't have all those.
That's what I mean. The underlying message is so deep. Like, I was glued to the freaking movie when I put it on. I didn't think
they should, if they have cut all that,
they could have like put something, and you would just need the tiniest thing to imply what's happening. Like,
right.
Like, remember way back in
they
the
ruined
day,
it. They ruined it. They ruined the good movie. They ruined the good movie.
The outrage ruined it. The outrage ruined it.
No, come on. The creators ruined it with all those scenes.
I think the outrage made it much worse. I think
the outrage is justified, though.
Craziness. Well, okay, yeah. I just think the message. I'm so mad at the messages being lost in this shit.
Well, whose fault is that? That's the creator's fault for putting those scenes in there. Yeah.
It's so tough. Like, and also just from my own perspective, I'm gonna be honest. Like, religion fucked up my sense of sexuality so much that I was watching this and was like, I don't know how much of this, my reaction is just my own indoctrination. Like, I don't know how much of my reaction is just internalized shame, and I don't know how much is actually justified outrage. Like, is this just puritanical culture, or is like it made me realize the extent to which my own sense of what is acceptable is like fucked up, because I don't know how to put it. Like, I wish I could be that expressive that way as an adult. Yeah, just goddamn, it brought up a lot for me.
It's funny how it creeps up on you all of a sudden.
I wasn't expecting it at all.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
I hope this doesn't. But here's the thing. What I'm sad about is that there's a lot of movies that celebrates Islam, and now this is what we get when one of them wants to be critical of Islam. Like, can we actually get like some movies without the backlash that actually is critical of Islam, that gets a lot more attention? Because we don't have a good record now when it comes to movies being critical.
Yeah, this won't be a good one for that.
I mean, there's lots of other movies that are critical of Islam, like, successfully.
Which one?
This was not one of them.
Which one?
Like Submission.
What's that one?
What? Which one is that?
That's the one that Ayaan Hirsi Ali's friend was murdered over.
No, like mainstream movies, like that, like not activist like movie, like actually like Netflix TV series, like stuff like, or movies.
Do you think they would allow that?
Well, I mean, they allowed this.
But
this
no, well,
I'm just saying now they won't. Not anymore.
There was a series on Netflix called Caliphate.
Yeah, right. And I have not watched it yet because I am too scared to.
I think that would be a lot for you. But Caliphate is supposed to be.
I've watched
incredible.
a couple reviews and I'm like, oh, I can't. So
Yeah, maybe
That
not
is-
yet.
I mean, that was so well done. Guys, go watch the Caliphate.
I know.
That was-
I will. I feel like I should watch it with somebody though. Not with
Definitely.
it's just like too heavy.
But
Yeah.
I want, like, Caliphate was too extreme. Like, that was the worst of what Islam could get you, right? I want, like, more movies, more mainstream movies
Yeah,
with
like-
the nuances in the day-to-day life and how it could fuck up your life in more subtle ways, rather than it's not gonna be like a suicide bombers and beheadings. That's not how Islam fucks with your life most of the time. It fucks with your life in, like, you can't
The
love the
long
people
term.
you want to love. You can't be with the people you want to be. You can't spend your time on things that you want to spend your time with. You're wasting time and resources on things that is not productive to your society or to your family. You have standards that keeps getting in the way of living your happiest, the best potential life that you could be living throughout. So those kind of things. I think a movie like that. I mean, this could have been that, but again, nobody's paying attention to that part anymore. Again, I'm hoping that this doesn't discourage movies like that being made, because most movies, when they have Islam in there, they're like celebrating it or something like that, which is like,
a movie like you're saying that would like show, like, say you'd have like two brothers and one's fully practicing Islam and one isn't, and you're seeing like how the guy practicing Islam is being held back by the religion and the other one. But like Muslims would just see that as like, see, you're selling out to Shaitan and he's giving you this earth because you're going to burn in hellfire afterwards. And this guy, he's sacrificing his dunya for it'll just be that, right? So you're literally forcing yourself to suffer if you're a Muslim. Like,
right. But it's okay as long as it gets people talking. You know what I mean?
Sure.
As long as this brings these things to people's attention and they get them talking. That's what I want.
Yeah,
That's
having these
what,
conversations.
yes.
Do you guys think it's ethical to make a movie like this?
Wait, which one?
Cuties.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think Deborah, I think, came in wanting to defend this, and now
I was unclear of my reaction because I know that I don't come from a normal background either. So,
I think Deborah enjoyed the message of the movie,
I was very surprised by it. I think.
Yeah, so she regrets the fact that people are not getting that part of the movie at least, right? But I'm saying that maybe Deborah, if they removed all those scenes, then that message that you got out of the movie, more people would have gotten.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Like,
but also Harshit is right as well. By the way, Shaitan is the best.
Yeah, Shaitan's the shit.
Yeah.
Dunya over Akhirat all day. Okay.
I'm gonna change my name to Dunya. Yeah.
I would make it a T-shirt but most people wouldn't get it.
Yeah, that's
Dunya
true.
over Akhirat. Oh my god, that would be so.
I
No,
feel
be
like you should
perfect
still
because then
do
all
it.
the right people would understand it. Armin.
Yeah.
All the right people, and do it in Arabic too. Like, why not? Because then they would all read it.
It should be I choose Dunya.
Oh no, like the Choose Life from Wham. Do choose
Yeah. Oh my god. Wait. We should do that actually.
Yeah.
Armin, write that down. Do you guys have any closing thoughts on this movie? Because my closing thought was I was not expecting this to make me think about how much Catholicism fucked up my life.
Yeah. That's good. You can like rehash some stuff you need to work on maybe. Well,
by
we
the
all
way,
know what I thought.
AJ is recommending everybody watch Hala on Apple TV. So check it out.
Sounds good.
Well, not right now, but just everybody check it out. Okay.
It's about What
is that?
What did she say?
17-year-old Pakistani American teenager Hala struggles to balance the desire with her family, cultural, and religious obligations as she comes into her own and grapples with a secret that threatens to unravel her family. which is a love relationship with a white boy.
Oh man, a love relationship. I love that.
Yeah. I saw ads for that. It looked really good.
Okay. That's a great suggestion by AGA.
Just thank you, AGA. We love you.
Love
Yeah,
you.
we do. Suhan and AGA are the best, aren't they? Like,
Literally, they should be sainted. Canonized. They need to be canonized by our community. Yes, David. And David as well. David is the 5-star
David.
general of my simp army.
Oh, yes. Wait, who's my 5-star general of my simp army?
I don't know. You get to crown that person. You get to elect that person.
Most of my simps are men. I want female
Yeah.
simps. I want female simps, goddammit.
You're
Like, what the hell?
for Callie then.
They're not as full-throated. They're not as
No.
full-throated in simping for you.
No. I think women are just... I think I have secret female simps. They're just not as outspoken.
That's what I'm saying.
They're
yeah.
shy.
I'm
They're
just
shy
going to
girls.
encourage them to be more outspoken about their... yeah, anyways. Yeah, see, Mortad, I appreciate that simp for Armin, but Mortad, unless you're a girl, that's not... See, Susanna is bi, so Susanna is bi,
It doesn't matter.
so she appreciates both male and female simps, but
Which
unfortunately...
automatically means that my army is going to be over twice the size of yours, automatically.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Oh, fine. All right, guys. Sure, I should, whatever. Anyways, thank you, everybody. And make sure you guys, can you tell everybody to like and subscribe? Susanna and Deborah, can you?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Smash that like and subscribe like it's Surah 434.
That's awesome.
I love Deb's reaction.
That was awesome.
Oh, we even have a sim for Deborah here.
Yeah. Where is that? Oh, here's sim for Deborah. Yes.
Yes, that's me. So yes, make sure you like and subscribe, hit that notification bell and do the all. Hit the button, all, because
all of
then,
you.
Yes, you actually
it's
get
63
notified.
people.
Come on, Deborah. Yeah, then you'll actually be notified when we go live like this.
By the way, I just lost Mortad. I lost one person to my simp army. Just shrank.
Lost one person.
That's right. That's
right.
right.
I'm not very grateful of my male simps, so that's why I lose them. Anyways, all right, guys. Yes, please subscribe and hit the bell button and hit the like button. It really does help the channel. We wouldn't be asking you if it didn't help the channel. So just do it. Do it now.